In this video, I'm going to give you 6 reasons why the Ahsoka show is not good. You just eat women! Welcome to Black Angus Reviews. Today, of course, we're talking about the show Ahsoka on Disney+, a sort of in-betweener filler about the titular Clone Wars character Ahsoka Tano, now a rogue, not Jedi, but pretty much a Jedi. They've really confused this character. That's not even a point I'm going to make exactly. But yeah, I guess to preface, it's been a while since I talked about Star Wars directly in a concise video to some extent. I am OG Fandom Menace guy. Been around since The Last Jedi, right before it came out. Started watching bullshitters, and the rest is history. My main buddy, Rookie Critic, more or less same historical background with YouTube, but he's usually just a downer about new Star Wars because it just is missing the appeal, the spirit. I'm open. I like some stuff. Mando season 1 and 2 is good. Season 3, the whole Doctor stuff, good stuff. Just want to get that out there. It's been a while since I've done Star Wars, and I need to preface that. No, I don't hate women or minorities, whatever. Classic shield defense deflection will come up in my critique of the show that I think this finally has really sparked the anger in me since The Last Jedi. I think it's kind of worse, actually, because at least that had direction and focus. Yeah, story for another time. Anyway, let's get to part 1. When is this show taking place? This is, Star Wars is confusing. It's really confusing, especially if you're trying to roll out new, hot, beautiful shows on your Disney Plus to hook subscribers to stick it to Netflix. You need to really have something worthwhile. And I think the open-endedness of Ahsoka being a tangential character, you got a lot to play with. Now, she is, spoiler, dead by the time Rise of Skywalker happens. Or maybe she's in the World of Two Wars. Who knows? This stuff's getting really dumb. But, you know, when is this taking place? You know, it's hard enough to get new people to watch Star Wars. And you tell them, like, well, watch them out of order when they came out. Original trilogy, prequels. Or you watch them throughout, but you're going to, like, miss the cinematic shock if you watch it as they've actually came out. And then to mention, you got the High Republic is becoming a thing, which is before the prequels, which is 1, 2, 3, before episode 4, 5, 6, which are older films. And then you plug in stuff like Rogue One, Solo, and then there's a sequel trilogy. If you're like, well, where's Darth Vader? And it's like, oh my god. Gotta hold back on your Star Wars fandom with normies. Alright, but, and then you have the cartoons, Clone Wars, Rebels, there was that stupid Resistance show. It's a very confusing timeline. And so, like, me, a fan, I know Rebels is what, before episode 4, I think? By like 5 years, give or take, and then, you know. So it's supposed to be Rebels season 5, I guess, from what I'm hearing. It's confusing. It's confusing to try to sit down and explain to people that aren't Star Wars fans to get into it. Like, all right, this is what you're getting into. And it's all like one thing. It's not like Star Trek where like here's an era, there's an era. You can just get into one thing at a time. This is all pertinent. It's all interconnected. This is a mess. Number 2, there is no reintroduction to Ahsoka for a new audience. This is kind of goes hand in hand. Ahsoka has 11 seasons of baggage in cartoons. All right. First off, my main point. Let's talk about classic retro things. Toy Story, for instance, where it came out when I was 3. So I've been attached to this growing up. Generally speaking, adults have a smug opinion about cartoons, no matter how adult. You have to convince people to watch Rick and Morty. You know, it's like, no, it's not a cartoon. It's like Family Guy. It's an adult. You know, you have to get people. You have to go through hoops for people to try it, aside from just regular shows. And besides, like Spider-Man, I don't know of a case of like just a straight cartoon that's all ages that has just permeated It's gone past that artificial veil of smugness that the average person, adult, won't engage a cartoon. They think it's just for children. And you're talking about a character that has 11 seasons, more or less, of baggage to bring into the show from Clone Wars and Rebels. It's a lot of homework. Hours and hours and hours of homework for an average person to know about this character. There's no reintroduction to Ahsoka. Who is she? She's the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker, who we've never seen in the original saga of George Lucas on film. This. How do you think you can just play this and not reintroduce? It's one thing to do Mandalorian, where he's his own character. You're starting him off, and then you start bringing people in like Boba Fett. That is one thing. And then you go into Boba Fett show, and it's essentially Mando season 3. They're making you watch a hot show, something that's built up its audience organically from the fervor of this is cool, this is fun, Baby Yoda, and even hooked in Ahsoka in there. But again, we don't really know who the hell she is. That's like a Easter egg fan service character insert. But when she gets her own show, you need to, at least the Obi-Wan show gave everyone a reintroduction to like the hot points of mainly episode 3 to get where we are in the show. So like, I don't know why they would think you could do this with a character that has no live action aside from Mando appearances. Number 3, too many plots. If you've watched the Batwoman show, don't know your feelings on it. I kind of like what I've seen, how bad it is. It has spirit. But needless to say, that show has 5 or 6 plots given to you of like, these are all different quests to go on that we're going to address or should be addressing that we've offered to you, the audience, to start this show. These are points of interest. It's a lot. How are you going to keep that contained? You really need one thread, maybe one subplot, and then the show can start complicating. The Boys season 3 did that pretty well, where you've had a pretty fluid plot, but then people are starting to splinter, have their own storylines, and then it comes back at the conclusion of the season and also has cliffhangers to go forward. But again, it had 2 seasons beforehand to kind of do a good guys, bad guys dichotomy. Ahsoka, here is the thing. I wrote it down. So, things I've noticed. Night Sister leading a former Jedi we've never heard it in, Ray Stevenson, with his apprentice, Shin Hati. Stupid fucking name. Sabine needs to be trained as a Jedi by Ahsoka, who is reluctant. Why? Don't really know. I didn't even realize that was a plot in the Rebels. Bad show. Another plot. Find Ezra, because he's been missing since the World Between Worlds or Thrawn or whatever. And that leads into Stop Thrawn. Stop Thrawn. This is another thread we have to go on. All right, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. I feel like there's a 5th one I missed. But it's a lot. It's a lot when you haven't nailed who this character Ahsoka is. And also, hey, here's Sabine Wren. Here is Hera. Ezra's a person we're missing. And then there's 3 bad guys. And then a bigger bad guy from another galaxy. Oh my god. Yikes. And then, yeah, there's just the intermingling of the rebels, the Republic's hierarchy and whatnot, their reach. You got the Carson element, which has baggage in Mandalorian. You got Hera running around saying, I can do what I want. I'm a general. And then Mon Mothma saying, actually, you can't, because I'm your leader. And she's like, okay. That's its own, the governmental aspect is its own problem. That's 5 at least things offered the show that haven't given you anything about the character. Nothing about Ahsoka directly. What is her motivation exactly? I have no idea. She has an attachment to certain people, so she's tagging along or doing this. I don't know. Makes no sense. Number 4, there's no risk to the show. There's no risk. And I don't mean for Disney. I just mean in the show. Episode 1 or 2? Sabine Wren gets stabbed by a lightsaber. You've probably seen the classic episode 1. Qui-Gon Jinn gets stabbed, and yes, it's directly in like the heart box, the kill box, as we call it in the military. But you would feel that a stab directly through your body by a lightsaber, given the damage you can do to metal in this world, that is more or less, yeah, you're dying or about to die. You might linger for a while, but this is kind of beyond repairing. Or you might become like a Vader or General Grievous if you do survive such damage. You'll be a shell of yourself. She's like, it wakes up in the hospital a couple days later with like a boo-boo from a lightsaber. You've diminished the risk of lightsaber fights. Now every time I watch a fight, when there's a killing blow, it's like, well, was it? Is it really? Because you've stacked this, Disney. It's not just this show. You had 2 of them in the Obi-Wan show. Reva and the Inquisitor. They both... Actually, Reva... There's 3 of them. Reva survived when as a child from Anakin. Oh, my God. What's cool about lightsaber is it can kill people. It is a weapon. It's deadly. It is an extension of a character's power. And when the number 2 bad guy, the most iconic film villain in history, one of the most iconic in at least popular multimedia, he's so iconic. Everyone knows that character. They know the image. It resonates. It's like it gets the iconography of evil and darkness, the shadow. When he, with all his mythological stature, can't kill a little black girl with his powerful weapon. What is that? And then they do it twice. Come on. And it's even lamer in this show. At least you got like a Darksider where it's like, all right, she can use the Force. She's hatred. Whatever. Okay. I guess loosely I can buy it. Conceptually. But Sabine Wren is like, she can't use the Force. She sucks. Number 5. There's no emotion to this show. No emotion. On top of the no risk with something like Sabine and lightsaber crap. All the characters feel flat. Like, there's stills where you see a face or something, the wide shot, the characters there kind of center, they look concerned, like, ooh, that is a good sell. Hera looks good. She looks questionable or ambiguous emotion. But then you see the scene in context, it's like, oh, I gotta find Sabine. Where's Ahsoka? Is she dead? Where's this? We've scanned the area. This is an important site. There might be hostiles coming. But, like, I have more urgency telling you this than in the show where it's like, hey, I'm a general. This is a military operation. It has, like, a limited window of allowance by the preceding government to begin with, really pushing the boundaries. And also it could be hostile and lethal. But it's just like, it's like Star Trek. Star Trek. It's actually worse Star Trek, but I've seen seasons of Star Trek. They're just kind of like, it's like a passive show. Star Wars has it's war. It's in the title. That's the focus. And, we've seen too much media to understand, like, all right, here's a sleep of the area. All right, we got to go. Nothing like that. I just hang out with my kid. Oh, I sense something in the Force. Actually, I can feel it too. And I'm not non-Force. What are the rules? I don't know. Yeah, and the camera is just so still. It's so sterile, flat, and lifeless. Like you'd expect, aside from the quality of the footage, this is more or less like a film student or a YouTube fan film. It's so flat. Part of this was noticed thanks to the rookie critic, who I would never think to be a camera angle snob, but it was just like, what is this? Everything is the same. It's all filmed the same. There's no passion, no style to this. I'm like, wow, really sticks out now. And lastly, nothing for the boys. I have no problem following female characters. I was a big Hunger Games guy when that was popular in 2011. Love that stuff. Love J-Lo. X-Men is a pretty egalitarian unit. I would say they're the best comic films ever made as far as like actual pertinence and value. I do love Infinity War more, but actual just straight film with comic characters. Those are probably the best films aside from Dark Knight. Women are very heavily involved with a lot of power in those films. This show, not only do you have like a lame duck character in Ahsoka that they don't take the time to reintroduce, that doesn't really have any risk to her. Oh, I got back to it a little bit. No risk. The first episode, there's like robots with mega bombs, a bomb, I don't know what, but it like decimates this whole like city area that she's in. And then you watch Clone Wars, and there's all this like espionage, sneaking in a few droids to undermine a clone operation. It's like, well, why didn't they just use one of their bomb droids and detonate it? Like that would take out a Star Destroyer. Anyway, nothing for the boys. Yeah, you might have lightsaber fights and stuff, and it could be fine if it's girl characters, but you're playing so straight, and there's no sex appeal. You don't even have to garb these ladies in promiscuous attire, but there needs to be some just like Leia's just a naturally pretty lady. It wasn't even that they had to sexify. I'm talking before Slave Leia. It's like boys had the odds for Leia. They wouldn't mind playing with her toy among their toys. There's no toy where I'm like, I'm a boy, now I want to play with this toy. Oh boy, if this is my first sell of Ahsoka, I'd be like, this is so boring. This character sucks. There's no passion to her. And maybe that'll change going forward, but given the episode 5 events so far, but there's no sell. Who would want a Hera toy besides her fat ass? Which they would not make pertinent in a toy, I don't think. Sabine Wren, she already got stabbed. She sucks. I mean, maybe being a Darksider might make her cool, but otherwise, Shin Hati, the only character that's cool in this show is Balon, and that guy's dead, literally. Ray Stevens is dead. What's there for boys? Yeah, the only direct the people who make Star Wars. And modern media in general, there's this overarching problem, both on the Twitter fandom side and the people actually making stuff, of, hey, I can't really enjoy this unless there's someone just like me in a wheelchair on a show, which is retarded. My favorite characters as a kid was Simba, a big cat, Pocahontas, a woman, Iroquois or Mohawk, which I'm not. I'm half black, Cherokee. So from Oklahoma. I don't have a racial tie to Pocahontas, and I'm not a girl. And Darth Maul, who is a Dathomirian. I'm not a lightsaber wielding devil man. But those are some of my most favorite characters as a child. There's no direct relation. Like, I'm that person. I'm not Batman. It'd be cool to be Batman. It's just that is the escapism element they're missing. But with that idea presented, you gotta be like X character on screen. People can't relate if they're not a POC trans handy capable other whatever, these stupid memes. With that logic, where is the appeal for boys? You got boring bald Asian X-Wing guy. You got stupid Twi'lek child Jason Syndulla. Lame. The only cool guy is the bad guy. With the original Star Wars, you had Obi-Wan, old guy, but he's good. Darth Vader, a mysterious bad guy that doesn't take shit. Tarkin, the more executive, administrative bad guy. And Luke Skywalker, this young kid that's got a legacy, and he's an awesome pilot. He's touched with special abilities. It's vague, but this is the appeal. And they got Han Solo, where it's like, this is the unpowered guy that's just good on his feet, suave, gets a rise out of the ladies, and he's just on the outskirts of society. He's kind of a bad guy, kind of a bad boy. There's a range of appeals intrinsically to these characters. They don't have any of that for the boys in this show, on top of just the number of female main characters. Shanna T, Morgan Elsbeth, stupid, Sabine Wren, Ahsoka Tano, Mon Mothma. I'm sure there's probably one more I'm missing, but it's like 4 or 5 girls taking up all the screen. And then Balon, cool dark Jedi with the guy that's actually dead playing him, so no real future. And then a robot, the Hoyang or whatever, annoying name to say. But yeah, that's what is this? Star Wars is for boys. Girls can come in and enjoy it, but you don't change Star Wars. You gotta hook, line, sinker your bread and butter audience, and then have little shades and tangents and loop-de-loops for them to come in and be like, oh, okay, I like that character. Yeah, I'm sure girls love Leia in the original trilogy, whichever film directly, and then they probably see episode 7, 8, 9, and like, she sucks. I want old Leia. So this show's very frustrating for me. I would love to love this show. Ahsoka's a good character to play with in a defined universe. I like the problem of how do I write a story inside a bubble of other stories that are definite. But they're really just missing it. So those are my ramblings. 6 problems conceptually with the Ahsoka show, why it sucks, why it won't be remembered unless they really take off like the next season or something. It's not going to be a memorable show. You're like, oh, that crap. And she looks cool, I guess, to Gruda or whatever. Cool species, the horns, but yikes. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. I've had these conversations a few times in the last couple of weeks. I really hate this show. And it's not for like EU stuff or whatever, or Disney hater stuff. So I hope some of this resonates with you as the audience. And what are problems? Do you agree with what I was saying? Do you have counterpoints? And do you have points of like, well, this show's good because ... I'd love to hear it in the comments. Please share this video, like, subscribe, consider hitting the link to financially support this channel. I'd really appreciate it. And join me every Thursday night, 9 p.m. with the Rookie Critic for All American Beef. At the end of the day, the value of this show is that it's really inspiring an emotional reaction for me for the conceptual ideas of Star Wars and writing in general. Why it's helping me reassess better media and why it's good or bad. So there is a value still in the show, despite high blood pressure I get watching it. So I look forward to talking to you in comments. See you next video.